So the final Samayik, you do not have to become the leader of the center, but you have to become the servant of the center. So that as our organization increases, we are having more and more difficulties where the leaders become the leaders, and so now the Samayik is between co-workers and pratikramans between co-workers. We need to become the servant of the servant, and we need to the nature of the ego is such that the moment you give him a seat, he will the nature of the ego is such that immediately the ego will start using and misusing and abusing the superior role that has been given as a leader of a center or a leader of an organization, leader of trying to do certain work of the organization in a coordinated manner. So we have so many centers of Dada Bhagwan. There are 10 or 15 in Mumbai or Ahmedabad, Rajkot, all over abroad, Australia, Africa, New Zealand, America, Canada, wherever there are centers have happened. We need to have some kind of an organization, and it is all on a voluntary basis. However, because life after life, the Prakriti is very hungry for ego validation, etc. So despite having a very good desire to be able to help, but because of incomplete Gnan of the S capital self, experience of the S capital self, the ego and the intellect complex takes over, and the sweet taste of doership, then the exercise of superiority, etc. I've got to do it my way or no other way, and so the centers therefore start having difficulties on account of one. So it is very important that not a single center should have any kind of clash, and Mahatmas in individual centers are doing significant pratikramans. However, for the hurt caused to those who are in the center, Mahatmas in the center who are serving in the center, it is very important that a proper approach is there with humility rather than a sense of ego complex superiority, ego intellect. There is no difficulty in communicating the message. However, it is the ego that miscommunicates the message and causes the hurt. So whatever responsible roles you have been given in the departments and so many various committees of this organization, so many teams have arisen. Every centers have arisen. So America has about 25 centers in America, and there are 200 to 300 centers everywhere else. And all the Mahatmas from each center are here also. And so whether you are a coordinator or whether you are a leader of the center, there are some who are giving service and there are those who are receiving service. However, in the process of this, and those who are giving service as well as those who are receiving service, there is hurt caused to each other. And Dadashri has said that as long as any center there is any kashaya or clash or lack of resonance and disharmony, then it will not will proceed any further. We'll continue to have difficulties, and therefore the very purpose why the centers are there is negativity arising in those centers and difficulties. And this the reason this is happening is because the previous in past life, these groups that have gotten together are really nobody except the very same people with the same kind of intentions, with the same gurus of a previous life have come together, and therefore those of Mumbai have been together in previously. Those in Nairobi have come together previously in a previous life. Those in New York have come together previously in a previous life, and they are constantly fighting for their guru. They have not previously cleared off all of these errors and mistakes with their previous gurus, and so they continue to see faults of each other, they continue to be jealous of each other, they continue to be envious and competitive of each other within the same center. And so we really need to, it is not so we need to clear off all the subtle difficulties that are arising between colleagues in a satsang, between people with the same aim in a satsang. So we let us have such a grand center that we have such a great bhavnas, a great intention that let our center be without any kashayas, without any hurt to anyone, anyone of its constituents, and therefore let us make a very beautiful seva of this kashayas, and let us do it this way. We really need to it is the moment you go into service, the ego takes the first leap, and the intellect is the one behind such ego, and whether yes, and so you put down the other person, you start backbiting somebody who is in the same satsang group, in the same center group, and so whatever progress that you are trying to attain, you are kind of you are impeding your own self. You are trying to reach higher and move forward on the path of liberation. Yes, the service is one of that is mandatory for us. But in the process of giving the service in the center, we really need to be very much conscious of the fact that we should not become, and there should not be groupisms. There are some people like to watch VCDs, others like to watch satsang, others like to just do something else, and so there are subtle small groups within the small center also. So they try to kind of go in their own different directions, but we are all part of the one unit only. The left hand is never ahead of the right hand. The right hand is always touching the Lord only, but the left hand is never reaching forward. The left hand never complains that how come the right hand is doing it and how come I don't get to do it. In the same way, in the same body, and the entire body parts are all part of the one only. There is nobody higher, nobody lower, nobody is there. I'm new and then he's old. I'm a more senior Mahatma, but and we are all part of the same old train of moksha that have been carrying on for a very long time, not only in this life but also previous life also. And so we should be we must be very careful in not having any kind of a divisive attitude or an approach towards this. And so let us go ahead and finish it off completely, and let us look at our own mistakes very carefully. And so if our intellect shows us any mistakes of the other person, that means know that you are in error, that other person is absolutely flawless. The entire world is flawless. Dada Bhagwan himself says the whole world is flawless, and therefore we really need to focus. Anytime we see the fault of anyone, then we really need to get into the two major foundations of Akram Vignan. Lagutam Bhav means the smallest and the smallest. Lagutam Bhav and Abhed Bhav, that I am one with everyone. Every Mahatma and I are really one. So who am I going to separate from? So Lagutam Bhav, in the relative, I'm lower than him, and in the real, I am Abhed. I am really one with him. He and I are one. And so we should not let our intellect come into the picture at all. And so if he wants to do something, if somebody wants to do this, then let me do the other one. But we certainly do not want to find any kind of separation. This is Kali Yuga. This is the wrong time. The whole world is going to come through very wrong times. And so if there is flood within the home, if the house gets flooded, do you not help each other in the same way? You don't keep on fighting. At that time, you attend to the point of trying to get the water out of the home. In the same way, so we are all sahadhyayi, we are all of the same goals, we are all students of the same path, we are all trying to proceed in the same path of liberation, we are all one. We should, if there is one subgroup is trying to form small political groups within the organization, within the local center, we need to really be aware of this kind of such divisive politics within the own small people who are giving service or rendering service. who are receiving service. So therefore it's very important. So those who are giving service, they must never be separate from each other, because those who are giving service, they are like the parents, and those who are receiving service are like the children. You see, the children are still a little immature. Those who are giving service, whatever their role is in the local center, whatever their role is in the Lindau center or in the Munich center or in the or in any other center, they really need to be more magnanimous, may need to be more giving, and because ego clashes will continue at so many different levels. However, we do not want to enter into that ego clash or intellect use. We have such magnificent Gnan, magnificent Dadashri, magnificent. Except for the Mahatmas, the state of the worldly human beings is like as if they are just being roasting in fire, they are burning in the fire of petrol. And so we really need to if we really want to share the beauty and the bliss of this Vignan with the world, we ourselves need to be highly vigilant that we should, that this love, this original love that is within us, does not get divided because of finding faults or this divisiveness between people with the same glone within in the of the organization. Sahadhyai, they are the students on the path of moksha. They are proceeding further. And if you have any difficulty, you can. If Mahatmas have difficulty, there are supportive committees of Daptaputras and Daptaputris also will give you the solutions. So Niruma has said, live with love, prem thi rehjo. So every center, people should live with love. Every center, every small organization, every small, even if there is a group, if there is a town with 3 or 4 satsangis, it is whether you have been given this center role or not, you really need to recognize that there should not be any divisiveness. Because if whatever VCDs that you watch at the end in your pratikraman, you must wash off the mistakes that arises because of a slight separation between the Mahatmas in the same satsang group. So this is very important to do, and so we need to proceed further in this role. So we need to do this, do deep pratikraman for this. That we need to have the exact this role in every center, and let us do a very, very beautiful Vidhi now, and let us do a very beautiful. I am also going to sit for 1 hour. We are all going to let us do a magnificent prarthana prayer to Dada, that we can wash off all the mistakes that are arising, because we are all together in the path of liberation. What I say, so the slightest divisive difference between a Mahatma within the same center or with the same goal, we really must not be there. Therefore, we really need to. So we need to avoid the clashes. Whatever everybody likes, as a majority likes, that is the justice within the correct approach within the organization, within the. So by the time we come the next time, all the subtle differences and divisive differences, everybody will say that we have gotten over our divisive differences, that we want to remain with in the exact way of how Mahatmas should remain with each other in the centers, in the local. We want to make the adjustments with the Mahatmas, and we want to adjust with different prakritis. Even Deepakbhai is going to remain in this Samayik, and said that he will. And he said, let us be supportive. Wherever it has become spoiled, let us improve it. Wherever it has stopped, let us proceed further, and use the intellect for the purpose of attaining the goal rather than to find faults with any human being. Never employ the human being in finding faults with anybody. And let us do a fantastic bhavna for Jagat Kalyan in this manner. Let us do the Vidhi now. Let us do an excellent pratikraman between our colleagues, spiritual colleagues. Hey Dada Bhagwan, the absolute self within me. Hey Shri Simandar Swami Prabhu. Hey Shri Simandar Swami Prabhu, dear Lord, with the exact applied awareness of the self, having come into this organization after having become a coordinator in this as a coordinator. And due to the interactions with anybody, any Mahatma, if I have seen any mistakes in any Mahatma, when the intellect has arisen in the divisive nature against anyone, let me see all those mistakes and let me clear it off with Gnan and knowledge of the self. Let me do such a Samayik, my Lord. And the Dada Bhagwan Satsang Center must be without any Kashayas. And so that the new Mahatmas who come there, let it become such that the newcomers can get the service, and every service giver becomes the servant of the servant without any Kashayas. And O Dada Bhagwan, grant us the energy to do this. Grant us all the absolute energy for this, my Lord. Ever since this center has arisen, up until that time, from that time, whatever difficulties and divisiveness have arisen between Mahatmas due to seva or service, or those who are giving service, or between those who have received service because of this organization, whatever mistakes have arisen, because of the intellect and the ego, all of those mistakes of the intellect and ego, let me see those errors in Samayik, and with the exact separation awareness, let me wash it off with sincere repentance and remorse, and let me I make the firm determination that such mistakes never arise again, and that center rises higher with oneness, and the sevaks and the service givers remain in the absolutely humility mode and continue to give this service. Hey Dada Bhagwan, give this energy to all us all. I surrender the mind, speech and body, all illusions associated with my name, bhav karma, charge karma, dravya karma, subtle discharge karma, no karma, gross discharge karma. Hey Dada Bhagwan, you are the manifest absolute self within me, and I am surrendering them to all unto your divine feet. I am surrendering them all to your feet, my Lord. Atma chuhu Shuddhatma chuhu Shuddhatma chuhu Shuddhatma chuhu Shuddhatma 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 chuhu Shuddhatma 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 Shuddhatma chuhu Shuddhatma. Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand. Go deep and do a beautiful Samayik. If anybody has been crushed by us, everybody has run away, has stopped coming to satsang because of us, or because of her. We want to make sure that no Mahatma who comes to the satsang center tries to serve in some way or the other, or receive service in some way or the other, must not go away because of some subtle difficulties and ego. And so, yes, so any divisiveness and any kashayas must stop. And so let us see where I was the reason for this and wash it off in Samayik. Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand.